Hello everybody, it's Dersh here, and this is a poorly timed endgame update for the crit PermaStun EQ build. So we're going through Abyss, Colosseum, and Core, with and without Atziri's Acuity. Now, as you just saw, this is all the first three are without Atziri's Acuity, and we slammed through a Twinned Abyss. The bosses had some fairly hard mods on them. I tried to get some rare maps with Twin, but it's honestly pretty difficult, and I went through quite a bit of currency, so some of them are rare, some of them aren't. But yeah, for the most part, it was very, very easy. The only time it's really scary is if you don't have IC up. And that's an integral part of this build, I found. Some people ask whether they can use cast when damage taken. No. No, I mean, you can use it with self-cast IC, but self-cast IC is integral, because it does keep you alive, like, when you want to be alive, when you know you need to use it. Now, for the core map, the first three bosses were extremely easy. Not a problem there. And this was a little bitch core map. Nothing really difficult. I'm really scared of core maps in general, so I'm happy with the outcome. I died once, which is the least I've ever died in a core map before on any of my characters. And I only died because I didn't have IC up. Again, goes to show the incredible importance of having it up. Now, we didn't stun Malachai, as I expected. Like, I did not expect to stun this guy. He has a shit ton of health. But for the most part, it went alright. And I think a very big part of that is that we are the Juggernaut Ascendancy and we're immune to freeze. Because we don't get stun locked, or freeze locked rather, by his tentacles. So we can just walk by them and negate all the damage. The only other really dangerous part of the core boss is the little traps he puts in, which aren't physical, as well as the circle that gets created after you blow up the third organ. So you're gonna have to play around that because you can't out-leech that circle. So there, I just died because I didn't have IC up, and he just turned around and smacked me. But other than that, it's honestly pretty easy, and the better you play, the less damage you're going to take. And I imagine you can do some fairly difficult core maps with this build. No, I did get to do some endgame maps with Atziri's Acuity. Huge thanks to the Jew of Malta who let me borrow his Atziri's Acuity for these videos. Incredibly generous, very kind, I appreciate it wildly. So in the conclusions with Atziri's Acuity is that they're absolutely fantastic for clearing maps in general. For bosses, it's hit or miss. I mean, so you'll see, I actually, on both of these bosses, tried to take some damage to see how quickly I could leech back up, and it was pretty terrifying. If you don't crit, and we have like a 30% chance to crit, right? So if you don't crit, you're fucked. So for bosses, it's honestly hit or miss. It's beneficial, but it's not like you don't need it. So if you can get it, I'd get it. It's really good for clearing trash mobs. You're gonna take a lot less damage, and you're not gonna have to worry about IC when you're clearing Colosseum, Abyss, and Core, just the mobs before the bosses. And specifically, you won't really have to cast IC against ranged mobs, which is the most important part usually because we have no evade chance. And this is the beautiful recording I have of the core attempt. It's just a black screen. I don't know what happened, but this is the recording I have. So it went about the same as the other one. It was easier to clear mobs, but the boss was just as difficult, and I died once again because I didn't have IC up. Now, when I was using Atziri's Acuity, I noticed we lost a lot of attack speed from our gloves, so instead I used Doryani's Catalyst, and we still stunned the tier 15 bosses when we had our flasks up. So this is gonna be great for next league. Now, I was going to go over the build and how it's going to work in the Essence League and Atlas of Worlds, but that would be speculation at this point because the patch notes aren't out till Wednesday, Chris said. So instead, what I'm going to do is just briefly go over it and talk about the big changes and which one of my builds are viable and which ones aren't anymore, or if there are any changes at all once the patch notes come out. So that's going to be another video out on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how much time I get between those 2 days. But in general, since the build works with Doryani's Catalyst and we're still stunning tier 15 bosses with our flasks up, you're fine, because Voidheart doesn't do anything for stunning anyways. It just makes you kill things faster, and Voidheart and Breath are both attainable. We know this because Prophecy is being rolled into the main game. I just don't know how hard they're going to be to get, and it won't be worth it if Breath of the Council is really expensive. I don't imagine it would be, because it's not a ridiculous item, but it could be a bit more expensive. So if you can get it, I'd still get it. If not, Doryani's Catalyst, readily available and very cheap a few weeks into the league, and you can grab that instead. and Voidheart, if you can get it, that'd be the chase item, right? If you can get it, it'd be great. If you can't, whatever, right? I think you should use this build if you're into something that's really quick. I mean, you're going to do sub 2 minute Gorge runs, no problem, once you get used to it, but you do have to get used to it. If you don't want to self-cast IC, don't play this build. It's integral, and so I have a lot of people saying they don't want to do that. How do they adjust? It's not good if you're not self-casting IC. It doesn't work that well, unless you're not using Abyssus, but then you don't do all that much damage, you don't perma-stun. Legion launches on the 30th, Atlas of Worlds on the 2nd, my buddy's coming to visit from out of town on the 2nd, and I'm leaving to Ireland for 2 weeks on the 5th. Ireland is, if you don't know, the homeland of the Protoss from StarCraft, and I'm really excited to go visit. So it's going to be awesome, but I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm going to miss the first chunk of both of those. So I'm going to do a lot of catch-up when I get back really quickly, but I'm going to be out of commission for those 2 weeks. So yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the build, if you enjoy the videos, please stay tuned. Although I'm not going to be around for, I guess, the next 2 weeks. But after that, I want to come up with... I already have some pretty good ideas for some builds, but when the patch notes come out, I'm really going to get to theory crafting, especially when I'm in Ireland at night. Absolutely smashed. I'll take that time to come up with some builds, I guess. Alright, thanks for watching.